It's HPR, All Things Considered, and I'm Dave Lawrence, welcoming back a classic rock staple that, on November 7th, returned to Hawaii for the first time in over 40 years. Foghat. November 7th, Foghat played the Blue Note, 6:30 and 9, and it follows Sonic Mojo, their 2023 album. We're grateful to welcome back to the show Foghat original founding member and drummer, Roger Earl. And I know two things, my brother, are absolutely on your mind right now. I know one of them is you're totally stoked about the massive success of your latest record, Sonic Mojo, that has been for 30 plus weeks in the Billboard Blues Charts top 10. That is one thing, okay? And then the other one, and you'll correct me if I have any of it wrong, you're also really stoked because you're bringing the band back to Hawaii for the first gig in decades coming up in November.
The top 10 of the Billboard Blues Charts. It got back in just the other day, came in at 9, and it came in at 6. It's been on 32 weeks. It's been on there. It's absolutely incredible. And I'm so looking forward to coming back to Hawaii. And the rest of the guys in the band, actually, we're bringing our wives as well and girlfriends. It's fabulous. We played there once before, I think in around 75, somewhere around there. And then I played there at a club there about, 30 years ago. And it's heaven on earth. I'm so looking forward to being there.
The other part of the record, though, the story of it that is, that's really cool stuff, and that shows you this is a band that people can remember from 50 years ago, and here they are with that kind of contemporary success. But there's another part of it I was hoping you'd explain. I also read that not only are you guys celebrating basically the one-year anniversary of Sonic Mojo with this gig at the Blue Note Thursday, November 7th, but you have been, it says here, and you'll explain this to us, submitted for a Grammy nomination, and that's for Best Contemporary Blues Album. Explain, how does that work? What does that mean, submitted for the nomination?
I guess because it got in the blues charts. Our manager worked tirelessly talking to people, and our distributor did the same thing, and all of a sudden, actually, we're in some pretty fantastic company. Some really great records came out the end of last year and this year. So it's we've never been submitted for a Grammy before, so that's another first, and it's super cool. It's really super cool.
Does that mean that you're one of the... I'm still trying to understand it. Does that mean you're one of the nominees, or does that mean you're potentially a nominee?
Potentially a nominee. We're being submitted. I'm not entirely sure exactly how you get nominated. I guess people, the nominees or nomineurs, say, Foghat's record is really great, and it's never happened before, so it will be interesting to see it. If we get nominated, we will have a really good time.
That's pretty cool. Have you ever been to the Grammys?
No, never been to the Grammys. But if we get nominated, we'll go there. And we will put our boogieing shoes on.
Yeah, those are cool. That's a cool event, and those things are real heavy duty. Now, you mentioned something about your history in the islands. Again, it's the great original drummer from Foghat, Roger Earl, and they're at the Blue Note Thursday, November 7th. Couple of shows, 6:30 and 9. Now, you had talked about you'd only done one show in the islands. We're lucky we have Steve, the mystery emailer, told us about that show. It was February 20th, 1977, your Hawaii debut, sold-out crowd at the Blaisdell Arena. It was on the night shift tour, and tickets were a bargain back then, Roger. $750, $650, and $550.
Wow. It was. We had a great time. We had a week off before we played there. I got a chance to travel around the island. I think I rented a scooter and a convertible Volkswagen. And I was with my girlfriend at the time, who actually worked for Warner Brothers. She was an artist relations person. And we had a great time there. It was absolutely fantastic. So we're going to come there again, and yeah, we're doing 2 shows at the Blue Note, which is great because we can play pretty much, for an hour and 15, hour and a half. So really, I'll be playing 3 hours that night. No problem. I can play for 10 hours. No, I don't think you can actually. So we'll be having a good time.
When we do this show, it's a news show, as you can imagine, all things considered. So we have a lot of different people, and they grew up listening to all kinds of different music. One of the things about your history is you've played on bills with so many amazing, weird lineups, cool lineups. I wanted to I wanted to see if any stories come to mind. I'm going to throw a couple of them out there. And you tell me if anything pops into your head. Is that okay?
That's fine.
Awesome. Okay, so we always call this a classic concert flashback storytelling because it keeps people who are in their cars listening. So we go back.
Okay.
We go to Memphis Jam, and if you don't know it, Roger, just say you don't know it because I got a million of them here that are good. So we can go. We just go to the next one. So it'll be Memphis Jam. This is July 28th, 1974, the Liberty Bowl, Memphis Memorial Stadium. Eric Clapton, Leonard Skinner, and Foghat opening that show. Do you remember it?
Yes, I do. It was great. Eric was particularly good that night. He sang a bunch of really sort of cool blues songs. Leonard Skinner, what a great band they were. Actually, I remember one day that we played. I don't remember this particular day, but I remember seeing them there. But there was one day we played with Leonard Skinner in Michigan at this huge 80,000 people arena. And I'm walking around backstage, and all of a sudden, two of the members come out of Leonard Skinner's dressing room, punching the crap out of each other, and within seconds, they start laughing and hugging each other, and walk back in the room. And I'm going to myself, that's one way to keep a band together, I guess. They were a great band.
No, that's classic. And I saw a few different times that you got to play with him. And the thing with Clapton, was that just one show only? You didn't do a whole tour with him?
No, but
just one.
I mean, I've seen Eric from early days when he was with John Mayall's Blues Breakers, and also when he played in a band called the Yardbirds.
Yeah. You were
Thursday night to go and see them at the Marquee Club just off of Oxford Street.
Oh, it's epic, the stuff you saw. But back to the stuff you were putting on. Now, here's another crazy one of yours, and I'm hoping the promoter might have a story. Back in, it was called Day on the Green 4, presented by the legendary Bill Graham. Oakland Stadium, you're headlining. If people can imagine, this is like 60, 70,000 people. It was September 1979. It was Foghat, Foreigner, The Cars, and Gamma with Ronnie Montrose. Do you remember that one?
You know what? I remember Ronnie Montrose because we became good friends with the band. We did a number of days with Ronnie. After that, we actually did a whole tour with Ronnie, with Montrose supporting us.
Right.
And we became good friends. I still am. We're really good friends with Ronnie's wife. It was sad when we lost Ronnie. They've done tons of shows with him. Ronnie's band, Montrose, were absolutely incredible. They kicked ass. They were really, really great band. I've also done a couple of benefits shows where everybody would get up and play a Ronnie Montrose song, and that's a pleasure. Yeah, Ronnie was fantastic.
You did a lot of gigs with Peter Frampton too over the years. Was that a guy that you developed any kind of relationship with?
Yeah, I met Peter a number of times. Super nice guy, cool guy, great band. First time I met him, it was in Humble Pie.
Right.
Then they were great. Then Clem Clemson joined Humble Pie. We did a ton of dates with Humble Pie from like our early tour, 72, 73, 74.
Yep.
Stevie Marriott. What a piece of work he was. Yeah. I loved that man. He was, and Humble Pie were probably, them and the Jay Gowers band were my two favorite bands to tour with. They were incredible to work with, really cool people and a lot of fun. In fact, Stevie, I could probably tell you, we had too much fun with him from time to time.
The voice
I love
of
Stevie.
I Don't Need No Doctor, man. What an
That's
amazing,
right.
amazing cat. Yeah, I've got a bunch of those listed here. You played with Queen, too, one time. Cleveland Music Hall, February 76. Do you remember that?
No, I don't actually.
Wow. That's the thing about having a career like yours. You've done so much stuff that someone you can actually overlook getting to do something. Like, how about the time, you know what's interesting? You had a lot of
Yeah.
different heavy guitar bills. One time, Tulsa Fairgrounds, November 76, Tommy Bolin opening for
Yes,
you
I remember
guys.
Tommy. I remember Tommy. Great band. A great guitar player. In fact, Craig and I were huge fans of Tommy Bolin, and when he did a number of his solo albums, great drummer, great sound. We hung out with him in New Orleans one time. We did some shows down there. I remember hanging out with him and running around Bourbon Street, getting a little crazy, but having fun. Great guitar player.
Eh,
Dave and I were hanging out with him, and Craig too.
Alphonse Mozoon, is that the guy you were thinking as drummer? That was he had that incredible, I think that was the guy's
I
name.
don't remember.
He was a bad dude. You know, here's another one that shows you the power you
Yeah.
guys had. This was one of the epic times for y'all. I grew up in the Philly area. I was just a little kid, but it was
Yeah.
December 18th, 1976, the massive Philly Spectrum. You're headlining it and opening for Foghat. It's Boston and the James Gang.
Boston.
Crazy,
We
huh?
did a whole tour. Yeah, we did a whole tour with Boston supporting us when they had their first album out, and I became really good friends with Fran Sheehan, their bass player. Still am to this day. In fact, I played in a band with Fran Sheehan when Lonesome Dave left the band in '84 and moved back to England. I played in a band called the New England Jam Band, and it was Fran Sheehan was the bass player, and a bunch of other luminaries. That was a lot of fun. Yeah, great band.
So many times you also merged with the rock historians. The last time you were on, we were talking about Willie Dixon and stuff, but there's this
Yeah.
other show in your history that goes back to 72, September 72, Indianapolis Raceway Festival. The headliner is Chuck Berry. Another headliner is Fleetwood Mac. Argent's on the bill, and way down on the poster is Foghat. How cool.
Where is this?
This is September 9th, 1972, Indianapolis Raceway Festival.
Okay, I do remember that.
With Chuck
Yeah.
Berry. What a cool thing to have on your on your resume. It's just
Well, there's a story about that I remember.
tell us.
Chuck Berry, myself and Lonesome Dave were like huge Chuck Berry fans. Without Chuck Berry, there'd probably be no rock and roll. But he's up there playing with he would have a pickup band every time he played. It was just him and his band, and we said to our manager, "Look, can you ask Chuck if we can take a picture with him?" And Chuck comes down the stairway after he's finished his set with his guitar case, and there's a red convertible Cadillac waiting for him with a blonde at the wheel. And our manager goes up to him and excuse me, Mr. Berry, could my band take a picture with you? And Chuck said, sure, anytime, and kept walking. The picture was our manager holding Chuck's wrist. Chuck was moving on.
I love
Chuck Berry. There would be no rock and roll if it wasn't for Chuck Berry. In fact, we do a Chuck Berry song on our new album, Promised Land.
I love those stories, bro. One time when I got a chance to meet Al Green, it was the same thing. He was walking to the stage, and they literally stopped him. The band was already playing his intro song. They stopped for 1 second to take the picture. So that's a little funny that you.
He did. No, well, Chuck kept on walking. He didn't go down.
Yeah, well,
Sure, anytime.
Al at least stopped for 1 second, but I'm talking like literally 1 second because it's funny because the picture looks great. You wouldn't believe the circumstances though. So your story is a funny one.
Al Green made some great records. I used to listen to him all the time.
You never had any Al Green encounters, do you?
No. We played one of his tunes, "Take Me to the River."
Yeah.
Changed it a little bit, but Al Green makes some beautiful records. Great R&B singer, great bands.
You got to play. You talk about a guy with a similar kind of thing. Johnny Winter. This is a great bill too.
Yeah.
We were talking about Frampton. This is Johnny Winter, Foghat, and Frampton in Winterland, May 22nd, 26th and 27th, 73. How about that business?
Yeah, that was Johnny's I'm Still Alive and World Tour. We did a bunch of dates with Johnny Winter. And I remember it particularly because we opened for him at Madison Square Garden. Our manager at the time was from New York. And playing in Madison Square Garden, we've been over here for 2 years, that was a big deal. And over the years, I became good friends with Johnny. He was, let me get this right, a character. Not only a great blues man, a great singer, great guitar player. We became friends, and there's a bunch of stories I could tell you, but are there any tender ears listening?
I think we should have at least one we should have at least one Johnny if you want to share a Johnny. He was our guest, so people remember him. He was on this show.
Okay, you may have to bleep some of this out.
I will.
Johnny hated flying, and this is during the tour, and whenever he had to fly, and he couldn't go by bus or wherever he was going, and I remember this because we were flying on the same plane with him. He was a little out of it because they didn't want him to get upset on the plane. We're on the plane, and the plane's up in the air, and halfway through it, Johnny Winter stands up on the plane and says, "What are these motherfuckers doing on my bus?" Another, and I got to play with Johnny and meet him over the years. I remember one particular time we did a show in 1977 called Foghat's Tribute to the Blues, whereas Foghat was like the house band, and we played with Johnny Winter, Muddy Waters, John Lee Hooker, Eddie Bluesman Kirkland. It was Honey Boy Edwards, Pine Top Perkins, and Johnny was there that night, and we hung out a little bit as well. Johnny was beautiful. I loved the man. I really did. I loved him.
I love that story though. That's a great one, and so he was confused and really thought you were on the bus.
Well, he wanted to know what all these people were doing on his side.
I love it. You know, before I wrap it up with you, in fact, I'll make it our last concert flashback. In August of '72, Hollywood Palladium in Los Angeles, Jeff Beck, Argent, and Foghat.
Yeah.
I mean, wow, dude.
Yeah, they were fantastic. That was the first time. I think Carmine Appice was playing with Jeff.
Wow.
I think so. I think it was Beck, Beauregard, and Appice, wasn't it? I think.
Could have been.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure because around that time, the early days, I was playing a Gretsch drum kit, and it got stolen along from our truck, along with Lonesome Dave's Gold Lamy suit, his first one, and so I didn't have a drum kit. Carmine Appice, our road manager at the time, said, well, Carmine's with Ludwig drums, and I gave him a call, and I talked to Carmine, and Carmine said, yeah, Bill Ludwig will get you a drum kit. So I got Bill Ludwig's number from Carmine Appice. Actually, Carmine made a call for me. I gave them the size of the drums I wanted, 2 bass drums, 2 rack toms, 2 floor toms, bunch of cymbal stands, air drum. And, of course, I didn't have a drum kit. This was a Friday night, I think it was stolen. We were supposed to play Saturday. I think we had the Sunday off. Monday morning, wherever we were, all these drums arrived. So I'm eternally grateful for Bill Ludwig III. In fact, we're still very good friends, even though I use DW drums now. Bill Ludwig was Bill Ludwig. Well, he sold the company, so I didn't really feel any affiliation.
Sure.
And apart from that, DW drums are the best.
But they're
handmade by Americans for Americans.
But they saved you that day. That literally saved you with those drums.
Yeah. Thank you, Carmine. Carmine and I are good friends too. What a great drummer, great band too.
That's just so cool. And any interaction with Jeff? Did you have any over your life? Did you ever spend any time in
it was just hello.
it? Get you, no biggie.
Never really hung out with Jeff.
Doesn't matter because you got to open for him.
Well, what does matter about Jeff though, he was an absolutely brilliant guitar player. Had a huge influence on Brian Bassett, our lead guitar and slide guitar player, and producer and engineer. And I think, Jeff Beck it's very difficult for guitar players to stand out because there's a bunch of them out there. But right. Jeff, Jimi Hendrix, Eric Clapton,
they had a way of cutting through.
The newer mob. Of course, we have the greats before them, but Jeff was brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
I'm going to go out with Slow Ride, and any fun, memorable origin story to how the riff came about that you like to remember or think about?
Slow Ride, yeah, it's very, very good to me. We still play it every night, and it's a blast. I love that song. It was actually recorded. Nick Jameson just joined the band in 1974. Tony Stevens, our original bass player, had left the band.
Okay.
And we, myself and Rob Price shared a house. I didn't live there out here on Long Island. We had the basement soundproofed. I asked Nick Jameson to join the band. He worked as an engineer with us on our first album and second album. And we became good friends. I was living up in Woodstock at the time. And he came down. We set up in the basement. It was the first time we all got together. Dave was standing at the microphone and singing some lyrics to Slow Ride. And Nick Jameson and the band put it together. One of the things Nick said, and this is the truth, we were listening to it. Dave was singing the song, and then once we got that, Nick said, "Just go bang, Rog." Said, what do you mean, go bang? He said, "Just go bang." 2 and 4. I mean, nobody starts anything off like that,
right.
But I did because Nick James said, "Do that." Then Dave came in, and the bass, and then everything else. Then there was the breakdown in the middle where Nick and I had a chance to show our chops with our feet and his fingers on the bass. That was a lot of fun. Working with Nick Jameson was a guest, as it was with Lonesome Dave and Rob Price.
It's one of those enduring songs. People, when they hear that kind of thing, it takes them back in time. They might remember, where they were in high school or middle school or a girlfriend driving in the car someplace. I mean, that's that kind of song.
Dave, what's that song about?
It's about having fun with a lovely young lady.
That's right. All right. Some people think it's about driving.
No, I don't think it. I know what Slow Ride's about, my brother.
You do. So you've been around the block once or twice, right?
Yeah, I remember seeing you guys telling that story about that song. I think it was at this. It was in 1994 at the Hard Rock in Boston.
Yeah.
I remember your tour bus had the name of the band on the side on the.
That's right.
In 19.
You're right. That's where we got the original band back together, right?
Yeah, and it was at the Hard Rock, and some cool dude, I can't remember his name. I wish I could, because the manager there was this really, really nice dude, and Scott Bernstein was his name, and I remember he got us really good table, and we were I was so enthralled. It was a great view. We could watch you really up close, and you told that story, or somebody on stage, Dave, I guess.
You know what? I have 2 pictures in front of me from that day, from the Boston.
Wow.
2 big pictures. What are they, 24 by something, Linda?
Oh, that's crazy. Of the show I'm talking about.
18 by 20. Yeah, it's from... I'll send them a copy. You want a copy?
I'd love a copy of the 1994 show in Boston that I'm talking about.
Yeah,
It's okay. That's outrageous, man. What's the likelihood of that?
Right, there it is. Right. The reason I remember that is because I got inducted into the Long Island Music Hall of Fame.
Oh, right around then.
I'm considered a Long Island now. I've lived here long enough.
I love it.
And we dug through some old pictures for them, and it's sitting there. How about that?
I love it. That's great. Well, you certainly have the accent for the Long Island Music Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Hey, how you doing? How you doing?
Long Island.
Yeah, make sure you send Linda and/or Rose your address, and we'll send something to you. All right?
I love that, brother. That's a huge one. And I'll see you when you come to town. I'm not gonna miss this, my man, over there at the Blue Note. That's gonna be a great show, intimate, and November 7th, as we were saying, 6:30 and 9. Foghat, Roger Earl, their drummer, back on the show, telling great stories, and really, that's a pretty unbelievable thing there with the photograph.
The picture's right there.
Unbelievable. That's fate. That's an unusual moment.
Okay.
I give you a big hug and a high five. Did you have fun today? Was this okay?
Yeah, this is great. Thank you very much. What song are you going to play from our new album?
That's gonna be in that what do you call it? Which one should I use in the collage? You can tell me which one you want.
Okay. What about Driving On? That's the one that actually gets a lot of airplay on the
That's the best.
Stations.
That's the one to play. The one that's actually getting on the air. Let me write that down.
Yeah, Driving On.
I will use that. That's going to be.
That was co-written with Kim Simmons.
Oh, who passed on? Not that.
Yeah.
You did it like not long, like not soon before he passed, or when did you write it?
Well, what happened was their previous album, Under the Influence, which was about 8 years ago. I invited Kim down to play on it. He played on 3 or 4 tracks, as did our current lead guitar player and lead singer, Scott Holt, who was with Buddy Guy for 10 years. So you know he can sing and play.
Right.
I invited Kim down to finish the album. We were down in Nashville, and our producer was there. And Kim played like on 3 or 4 tracks, I think. And after we finished, he came up to me and said, Roger, I'd really like to write some songs for Foghat. And I said, that'd be great. Thing is, you have to play on them, Kim. He laughed. So unfortunately, Kim couldn't play on them because he passed before the album was done. But about a year before he passed, he sent me 4 tracks with him singing and playing guitar. I think took like a click track. And we put 3 of them on our current album on Sonic Mojo. And I love Kim. He gave me my first shot of the band. And though I didn't see him much after we left Savoy Brown in 1970, 71, around 76 we reconnected and we stayed in touch ever since. And we did lots of shows together over the years. You know, he was a great guitar player and great songwriter too.
Yeah, he was a nice guy. He was on the show one time. I think it was that record like 8 years ago, the Under the Radar. What was it? The name of it?
Yeah,
I
know. Every year he would put a new album.
Yeah, right. He was
incredible.
He was prolific. I remember just what you said. Well, God bless. Really appreciate it, Roger. It's awesome, and thanks for the tip off on what to use in the opening collage. And it's going to be great.
Thank you.
Great to meet you in person and reconnect. And I'll see. I'll be able to meet you after all them years at the show that you'll have sent me a picture from '94. It does pretty hard to believe.
Dave, it's been a pleasure talking to you. I've enjoyed it. Thank you.
You too. Stay safe, brother. God bless.
Okay.
Aloha.
Bye-bye.
Bye.